Okay, strawberry. Oh, strawberry.
Wyatt, this is an
You know they used to be
emergency.
based on their.
Wyatt, before we do the podcast, I must tell you, we don't sing along to the opening song. We only sing along to the ending song. If you're going to be
Oh,
on the podcast, you must know the rules.
I didn't get told this rule. Sparrow lied to me and said that I could sing along.
All right, Cooks, you got to introduce everybody. Do your job. Cooks? Well,
Cooks,
I'm
answer me!
Strawberry.
Don't die like Granny!
I'm
Don't
Hello
die
and
like
Strawberry.
welcome back to
Granny,
the Very
please!
Best Podcast. I am Cooks, and I'm here with Strawberry and Sparrow and a special guest, Wyatt.
Our new guest, you mean? I'm gonna be on here every single episode for the rest of the
Oh,
time.
okay, yes, because Wyatt isn't special. He's just new.
Yay!
And this is important. Wyatt is underage, so we cannot talk about Cooks' balls all episode.
No, I give you permission to do that. I give you
When did
permission to do
we?
that.
When did
I
we
give
ever
you
talk
permission to
about
do that.
that?
Strawberry, I give you permission to do that. It's
Um,
okay. I'll just
Oh, wait, I remember we did that one time.
We did.
Which one time?
How about Django in Chains? Is that the name of the movie, Cook?
Django Unchained.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember that.
Django Unchained is a great movie. But anyway.
Enough to give up your balls.
All right, we're talking about the podcast, and we're talking about episode. I should have looked up the number before I started talking and started the podcast, but you know what? We're like, sometimes things are better when we just wing it, but sometimes they're not. So we're gonna.
This should be episode 5.
All right, we are on episode. We are on episode. Nope. We are on episode 8.
Oh, wow.
So, the episode title for this one is These Psychos Literally Don't Know What a Column Is. And this challenge was our Whodunit challenge, where somebody killed Strawberry. And you know what? When did the board game, when did the safari end and people got idols? That must have been way beforehand. But I really should have said somebody killed Granny. That would have been funny. But instead, it was who
I would have been.
killed Strawberry.
It should
Yeah,
have been Granny. So
and
to
it
make
turns out.
Sparrow the killer.
Yeah, Sparrow's always the killer because he's our evil pirate. What do you have
I
to say
am
about
evil.
You
that?
killed Granny.
I'd do it
That's how I
again.
really love Granny. And I vote you off of every single org that you're in.
Yeah, be nice to
I'll do it again.
And I'll vote you in every single org that you're in, even if I'm not even a player.
So, last season I did a similar challenge, but at Sparrow's insistence, I made it be a super expert whodunit, and this time I just did a medium level one.
I'm
And
very disappointed in you.
I only gave them a half hour to work on it because last season it took them 2.5 hours to solve it. But the problem is nobody could solve it. So both tribes tried to solve it, and then like 2 minutes before the timer went out, they just guessed. Because like every time you guessed the wrong person, it was 15 minutes. So, the younger tribe the Daffy Ducks ended up getting it in like 2.5 hours with penalties, and the Granny tribe ended up getting it, I think it was like 3 hours or something. But we really need to stop talking, calling them the Granny tribe, because they're not the Granny tribe anymore. They are the pig tribe, even though they're all grannies. So
Yeah,
they,
and I think the Alliance of Six is made where it's like grannies and the grandchild with the Granny tribe and Max.
yes.
Don't touch me.
So what
That
was
means
that?
you're so.
Okay.
I have Corona.
So,
That's why it's mother.
well, they were just so like all of a sudden they're like, "Don't touch me." I'm like, "Wow, what is that?"
It's my sister who has COVID now.
um.
I
So
still
My
haven't
sister
got
got
it.
COVID. You lucky jerk.
you know what? Maybe Wyatt's sister will come give you kisses, and then you can get COVID.
I think I'm
How?
immune.
You're
Why are you
immune
telling
from
us?
kisses.
You're
So
making
all
Wyatt
this I'm
uncomfortable, Straw.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Stop lying behind my name.
Sparrow's the one that's getting kisses and uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I
why am I
mean,
getting it?
Okay. So, what were we even talking about when we were talking about Sparrow getting COVID kisses? I don't even know. Oh, all right. So, the way that the Granny tribe
Apparently microwave noises.
the way the Granny tribe decided to do the challenge was that they were going to wait until 2 a.m. and they were all going to get drunk and they were going to get on VC, and then they were going to try to figure out this really complex whodunit. And let me tell you, they failed miserably.
how miserably did they do?
Well, I already told everybody what the scores were. If you were paying attention, Sparrow.
Well, we should have a recap.
I don't need a
Sparrow
recap
can't
of
pay
something I
attention.
said 2 minutes ago.
Um,
Like a Sparrow
I
hasn't paid
beg to
attention to the
disagree.
fact that like a Sparrow hasn't paid attention to the fact that I haven't finished my app for this org.
Okay. So, but the thing is the Granny's tribe doesn't really care because they are strong and they've got like they have Ace, Log as two people that they can get rid of and it doesn't matter to them at all. So this so they go to tribal, and for people that have
This
such a
this
strong
is. Sorry, go ahead.
well, they have such a strong bond, but boy, were they nervous about this vote.
Well, do they have a strong bond? A lot of them have a strong bond, but did we forget about Max and Log, who nearly could claw each other's eyes out at any minute?
Yeah, but they're not.
Yeah, but they're talking
They're
about the grannies.
yeah, we're not. They're not.
Chad is a baby. I mean, Log is a baby.
So there's Log. Basically, at this tribal, there's Ace, who is barely active enough. Like he barely has a pulse.
I know.
And then there's Log, who was the other name last tribal council, who's still here. And they are beefing with Max. Now, Log doesn't know how close Max is with the Granny Five. So when he tries to get Max out, Log doesn't know that there's no way in hell that is happening because the grannies they're like, Max, that's our guy, so that's not happening. So in reality, the vote is really between Log versus Ace.
Yes, but I feel if they were more experienced players, they would have tried to find cracks in the grannies with like Tony and Brandon. And then Log, Max, and Ace could have really taken a shot at one of the grannies if they were more experienced players. But instead, they just went along with what the grannies wanted. Um, and then went after Max only because Max, from what everybody thought, wasn't part of the grannies. And they did end up splitting the vote because they were afraid Log had an idol or Ace had an idol. Like, I don't even think either of them even did the safari. But they did split the votes. They had enough to split the votes. But with them splitting the votes, they could have, if the other side got together, they could have really taken a shot at the grannies. But that did not happen.
Yeah, they decided to play stupid.
They played stupid.
Well, they played stupid last round, so I feel like once you play stupid one round, sometimes you can't play smart the next round because the bridges are already burned for them last vote. Like the working against the grannies, I think that bridge is that's already not an option for Max, Log, and Ace. Like there's no way that's happening now.
Yeah. So
There's no
really,
way they can trust. There's no way they can trust each other after that. Max is way better off trusting the Granny tribe now.
yeah, and there was no way Log and Max were going to work together after the fire making idol. And all
Which should have the crown for. Sorry,
you're going to give your crown for this episode, Wyatt?
I was gonna give the crown for the other episode, the Johannes episode, for worst idol used ever. I don't care that they're for good occasions. This crown needs to be used.
Wyatt, emergency. That's not what
Yeah.
we give crowns for, and we don't give crowns this podcast for things that happened last podcast.
Well, I forgot. I would have brought it up if I knew that the podcast was going on.
That Max title play was pretty bad, but I think we've had worse. There has been some stinkers. I just can't remember them.
Yeah. So this vote was pretty boring. Ace went home. Ace wasn't active enough. Ace, like if we're going to talk about Ace as a player, I played with him in Big Brother, and Cooks watched me play with Ace in Big Brother, and he was a social player. He was in everyone's one-to-ones. He was strategic. I don't know what happened to him, except that maybe it was because he betrayed me and blindsided me, that maybe he didn't want to play anymore. That's the only thing I could think of, because I did try to talk to him and say, "Hey, that's the game. Let's not worry about it. And he never responded to any of my DMs. It was like, "Ace, you want to be my friend?" And guess what? He just didn't return any of my DMs.
Well, he's a dum dum for that.
He's a dum dum. All right, so I guess it's funny. Like it's hard to give a crown when it's the grannies going to tribal, because I feel like they're all pretty interchangeable. But I do feel like Dan Goosh is playing the best game, because he is playing.
Did you call him Dan Goosh?
Don Goosh, whatever. Well, you know who I was talking about. Like, I feel like he is the most social out of them. I feel like
Chase is a close second. Chase is a really good.
no. Chase is he like, I don't know if Wyatt can talk about this, but he rubs people the wrong way. Like he got into a fight in VC with I think Tony about something. Like he is loud, he is opinionated, and he's gonna get himself in trouble. Like even when he had that little tiff with Wyatt, and about when they were doing the give and take for the safari stamina, and like it was a silly little game, but he made it so much bigger than it had to be, and then made a uh what do you call it when oh my gosh, enemy. He made an enemy of Wyatt, but then he made enemies of other people because they didn't like the way he was acting. So Chase needs to watch it a little bit because he does start drinking and he does get on VC and he does maybe say things that he shouldn't say.
Yeah, he pisses some people off.
Mm.
People still in the game don't like. I can't lie.
All right. So the next episode, there's really not a whole lot to talk about. This is episode 9. The episode
What are you
title is
talking about? This episode has a lot to talk about.
I don't want to talk about it. That's the problem. I hate when people. Ugh. So the episode title is "The Tree Has Spoken," which I'm not sure where that came from. And I had a nice
That's
challenge.
because you did. That's your quote, Straw, because you were doing the tribe has spoken and you accidentally misspelled tribe and said tree.
No, I didn't. Did I?
I remember, but that's where that quote's from. That's your quote.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Well, the tree has
Gosh
spoken.
darn it, Straw.
So, we did a little name the character. We had the silhouettes. Why can I hear you chewing, Cooks?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not even eating anything. It's just my hand going through the bag. I'm sorry. I ate my shrimp and I decided to eat some popcorn.
Oh, the funniest thing, if you don't know, Sparrow and Cooks, is they always eat popcorn, and it sounds like they're eating rocks. Like I don't know what it is. You do.
Um. So basically, yeah, this vote was boring. Ace is boring. Sorry, Ace.
Well, this wasn't even a vote. Reese had a stupid meltdown and got banned.
Oh, so we already talked about Ace being voted out?
Yeah, we just talked about that while you're eating your popcorn.
Oh,
He
okay.
used to make me so mad.
So
Because
who
not only
gets
did I
voted?
get out,
Who gets
I
voted out
got
if
out
Reese
first.
doesn't rage quit?
Reese.
Reese
I
was
saw the votes.
Reese was
Reese.
getting voted out anyway, and Reese kind of knew it. But the thing is like people went for rocks for him, and they were going to try to get. I think they were going to go Trav here. And they were trying to get something going to get maybe Trav out, but Reese just had a meltdown and pretty much said some really horrible lies for no reason, and then had like
Honestly, yeah, we don't even want to talk about that. Like, whatever, Reese. He got banned from the server. What a loser.
what a loser. Yep, that's all we
Yeah,
got.
loser. Loser.
And then something exciting happens in episode 10.
Yes, I won the season.
You won the season in episode 10.
Yeah, I won the season in episode 10.
We should do a
Oh,
speed
what
season
was your
soon.
All-Star season?
Um all right. So we merged, and because of what happened with the whole Reese thing, they had extra time to talk and socialize. Um, they did do a lot of VCing this round, and Max might have had a teeny bit of a big mouth because they were all on VC, they were all playing their Roblox, and then at like 4 in the morning, when Chase was really drunk and Max was, I don't know what was with Max. He's like, "Oh, by the way, Trav has an idol," and told everybody. So then once we merged, Max had a lot of explaining to do. And there was a lot of VC talk between Max and Trav. Max is like, why did you tell everybody? And Max was pretty much saying that he was doing it for both of them because he felt that they needed to solidify their position with the grannies, and he felt like he needed to tell them some information. Um, so that is what happened. So now Trav has an idol. Everybody knows about it, and we've said this over and over again. Like, can I ask you guys something? Like,
Sure.
is it the new Survivor way that people just need to tell people about their idols?
I don't know. I will never.
So if you think about this, the only advantage that nobody knew about was Eric's extra vote.
Which comes in handy next episode.
Well, don't ruin next episode. But like, other than that, everybody knows what everybody else has. And not only do they know that, but they tell them when they're going to use them.
Yeah, that's not smart. These people aren't smart. They're worse than the what do you call it cast? The ones that I thought were dumbs. Um, the wicked ones.
Yes, yes, the leaky faucets. Oh,
Well,
another thing I want to talk about advantages. I want to talk about Scott's advantages. So Scott has an extra vote, and he has. There was a. I I think we went by this, but at when there was final 14. So this was last episode. We should have talked about this with the Reese vote out. There was a special thing in the safari that anybody that got to, there was a light at the end of the tunnel channel, and there was like, in the safari there was a maze, and in the maze you had to like go left, go right, and then find your way to this the light at the end of the tunnel channel, and there was like a map you had to find in the safari. So anybody that was in there at final 14 could play for a swap. So basically, I might have made my challenge for the swap a little too hard because apparently Scott solved my, it was a pictogram and a word scramble. He solved it in 20 minutes. The next person solved it in over an hour, and then nobody else could solve it.
And you were mad at me for suggesting an expert puzzle?
Yeah, so but that was an accident. So now Scott is giving away all of his advantages. He gave the swap to Dongush. He gave the idol to um Chase, and he kept the free vote. I think that I'm not quite sure why he gave the swap away. I know that he gave the idol to Chase a few episodes ago because they were afraid that there was going to be some kind of swap. And if there was a swap, they wanted to make sure that they all had an advantage for when they came together at merge. Um, but that didn't happen. So now Scott is just giving away all of his advantages.
Like a dum dum.
Yeah, well, and another thing that's happening this episode is I Dongush is playing the game way too hard. I had to really talk to him to get him to like see that um it's not as bad as he thinks it is. But what's happening is that he's I guess he says he's like wherever he's living with these other people and his friends, and he's going to move away, and he wants to spend time with his friends, but he's trying to play this org, and he feels this org is taking over his life. And he had like a little moment,
That's
but
okay. It happens.
and I talked him out of it. Like I pretty much said to him, I said, like you're doing it to yourself. Like play, have fun, but if you are going to try to control, you know how it is, Sparrow, when you try to get your perfect game. Like
It takes over.
some of it was not fun. You know, it did take over your life a little bit. You did ignore poor Strawberry a lot. Um, and you know how it is.
Well, when you try to play everything to the most perfect extent, you gotta be aware of literally everything going on, so you have no choice but to like listen in on everybody's conversation. You can't really take the break.
And to be fair to Dongush, that is what he has been doing. Dongush the whole game knows everything, and I think Dongush is way to perfect. He has a vote against him, and the game has just gone smoothly for him, and that is because he doesn't rest. Like you look at his confessional, he is always on the ball.
You can't take no break. What do you call it?
You can't
If you're
have any.
able to do,
You can't have any strawberry time. You just it's all orgs 24/7. Ignore all
I
your
did
friends.
I did not ignore everybody.
But he was like what I said to him because I said that you are in a good place. Like you've got an alliance. Like oh my gosh, the alliance he's in right now. Like there's a love fest going on. Like here, have this advantage, have that advantage, have this advantage. So he can either ride that to the end, or he can. Because I feel like if he went to the end with Chase and Scott, I feel like he would win.
I
I
think so.
yes,
Don Goose a while ago was talking about doing the onion strategy. I wonder if he's still going to implement that.
yes. But now he's thinking about when the best time to flip on them. But I don't even think he has to. I think that he could win. I feel like Chase has rubbed people the wrong way. I feel like Scott, although he's an excellent player, hasn't bonded to everyone as much as Don Goosh. Like everyone feels like Don Goosh is his like it's his pal, you know, he talks to people like he really cares about them, which I'm sure he does, like because you can't fake that. But I feel like he's got more of a connection that if he did go to the end with them too, that he could win it. And I feel like he would win it.
Yeah. He
And
has to
I
be careful with that with the onion strategy. Even if he goes to the end of Chase and Scott, like he has to be careful. There's a lot of stuff he could screw up there. And like blindsiding somebody on the bottom like Brandon might help because in an alliance of 6 you want like 3 out of 5, not 3 out of 6, which is kind of what he has, you know what I mean?
yes. And I did tell him about remember what you said on the cast assessment about Don Goosh? You remember what you said?
No.
You said that he was going to play
I did
so
all watch
hard
it.
that he was going to crash out. And he was going to walk. If you go back and listen, that's exactly what you said. And I said, Don Goosh, Cook said in the character assessment before he even knew you that you were going to feel overwhelmed and you were going to crash out and walk. So don't make Cooks walk. Right.
Wow. I didn't know I was so good at those cast assessments. Like I was pretty close to being right.
Yes. So anyway, this is my favorite. I always say that about all the challenges, but this is my fleas challenge. And I listened to Cooks and said,
This was my idea.
I said, wouldn't this be fun Oh, I think this was Dongush that said this. Dongush said that he's never seen a challenge so well implemented. Because what I did is like 4 or 5 days before that, I have this tree. Like, I don't know if you guys know this tree bot, but you can water this tree and it counts how many times you water it. And I told everybody to water the tree, and the person that watered the tree the most would know how to win the flea challenge. And Scott won, and I told Scott how to win the flea challenge. And he told a few select people. I don't even think he was planning on keeping it a secret to anybody, but it was mostly like if you asked him, he would tell you. And not a lot of people asked him. And I never came out and directly said that Scott got the advantage, but I did tell them it was for watering the tree. And you can clearly go into the tree channel and just look to see who watered the tree the most. It wasn't a big secret, but I didn't come out and tell everybody that Scott was the one that knew.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is with board players. They don't have their object permanence yet, so they're not able to like look at things themselves.
Yes, exactly. And then we were trying to figure out like, so what happens is nobody really gets immunity. It's a swap because the person that had the fleas the most has to go to the vet and get a flea bath. So they can't attend tribal and they can't vote. So I was kind of seeing how this would work for the merge vote because we know how important your vote is at the merge vote and whether the grannies would throw it and try to get somebody who like Log ended up winning it. Whether they would get someone like, well, I don't think they wanted Log to win because I think they wanted to target Log, but try to get somebody not a granny to get the swap so they'd have the numbers. And that's what ended up happening. Originally, they wanted to give it to a Brandon or a Max, but that didn't work out. Log ended up with it. And I'm trying to think of what else. This vote was, everyone was so paranoid about this vote. Everyone was like this stressed Don Goose out. He had a whole little moment. But at the end, the grannies were tight with their, and now we've got Max and Trav together. So we've got the five grannies. No. Yeah, the five grannies and Trav and Max. They're a solid 7. And we have this other side, which is Eric, Nathan, Log, Squeet, and Saren, and Jasoi. And you would think that they would all have gotten together and the non-grannies would have all voted together, but they didn't, and Saren didn't even vote. So we had a 7-2-2-1, and Jasoi ended up going home, which I feel like Jasoi was a good. This is when they were having the. This is when Chase had the big fight with Tony, I think, because like they couldn't agree of who they wanted to vote out. I want to. I should go back and look at it because this is probably an important part of it, like who they wanted to vote out. And I feel like Squeet, they wanted to vote Squeet, but the problem is Trav really is working with Squeet, so they didn't want to vote out Squeet, but they and then there was another person that they were trying to vote out, but then Tony didn't want that person. So then they ended up compromising and voting out a person that no one really wanted to vote out, which was Jasoi. So
Mhm.
that's how Jasoi's name came up.
Oh,
Okay.
Bob wanted
So
just
why
soy
did
out.
is can you make this clear for me? Because I don't really know what's going on, and I'm just know about the newest tribal. But is Trav working with the grannies at this tribal, or when did that start happening? Because last thing I knew was that Chase, well, when they were on different tribes, Chase wanted to vote Trav out because they saw them as a threat. So what's happening at this vote?
So Chase has decided, which I don't know if you guys are the strategic people, but he decided that the grannies are a threat. So they decided that the best way to counteract their threat is to work with the threat.
What?
It made sense when he said it.
Oh, I think what he's saying, Sparrow, would actually make sense because to cover up their own threat, they're bringing more threats into their alliance. So let's say like you have a big target, Sparrow, but then you bring someone in your alliance with a bigger target. So if something goes wrong, that person gets the bullet in their back first.
Yes, I understand that part. But what I'm saying is, they see the entire granny tribe as a threat, so they're working with them. Like, I don't know, like seeing an entire tribe, you go after that tribe. You play nice, but you slit them in the back.
Yeah.
I don't think
It
that's what's happening. I think that
That's what you should do.
I feel like they love Max. The grannies love Max. Max and this is an important thing to note that after Max told everybody about Trav's idol, what does Trav do this episode with his idol? He
he
plays
plays
it.
it, does he?
He plays it on Max.
Yeah, waste.
It was a
Bloody
waste.
waste.
It was a waste.
Why
And
didn't why did Trav do that?
because
He just
I
wanted to get Sparrow mad.
no, I feel like he thought Max was going. Max did get some votes. He thought Max was going, and he felt like his idol was pretty useless because now Max told everybody about it. So he just played it on Max.
I still don't think I would have played it that way.
No.
Honestly, yeah, if you're
No.
telling everybody about my idol, I'm not gonna play it on you. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
No.
honestly, if you're telling everybody about that, that means you're not a friend. You are my foe.
That's not how he thought of it, though. I guess he forgave him and then used it on him. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so was this vote like really exciting?
um, I think I don't think it was very exciting, but I feel like it was like the vote was an easy vote. But I feel like
It's kind of wild that like that's considered an easy vote because, like Sparrow said, it's wild that they're not voting out the Granny tribe because there's like, well, maybe because we have the God view, we see how close they are, but like, how many of each tribe is left of the original? Was it the original 3 tribes? So how many are left? There's 5 grannies out of the 13 at the merge.
yeah. And then
There's 5 Babs.
5 Babs. Okay.
there's that many?
There's Nathan, Squee, Log. Wait, I think there actually might be only 3. Hold on, I'm gonna go check. Nathan, Squee, Log.
Eric?
Dang,
Eric,
Eric is in the grant. Eric is
a roadrunner.
Okay.
yeah. So there's 3 There's 5 of the other 2 tribes, and there's 3 of the Babs.
So there's 5, 5, and 3.
Okay, so I guess that can kind of make sense, maybe because maybe they don't think they're solidified as maybe they think like it's all alliances now. So I guess it kind of makes sense that maybe they don't seem as threatening as they think that they are.
But the thing too is the grannies have a lot of trust. So what happens is if they talk to anybody not in the grannies, they will lie and say, "Oh, I'm not really working with them." And make up these lies because if if you don't really truly trust the person, if you come back and you hear it from somebody that so and so says that they're not really working with you, you'd start questioning it. But
Yeah,
they're
Yeah.
I
so
think
tight
I think
that they can make these little lies up, and if they come back to them, they know that it's a lie, and they won't be worried about it. Does that make sense?
the Granny Five, I think is in running for one of the most successful alliances in Survivor history. This is like a top tier strong alliance.
It's a shame it's gonna end up like a pagogging, most likely.
But the thing
Well,
is these.
also let me just say this: um, people you might think like, oh, so they should piece together that the grannies have been voting together. But if you think about it, um, half the tribe, the grannies were all on the same swap tribe, so the other tribe had no half the players basically didn't know what was going on in that tribe. And on that tribe, it was a whole bunch of easy votes. It was Johannes and Ace, which were completely inactive. So you could kind of sell it maybe that they're not as together as you would think. So maybe they don't see it that way this vote. Well, I do think that this vote, maybe people will start clicking in that, like, oh, yeah, they are all voting together. And by the vote results of the next tribal council, it seems like they did finally try to like take arms with them in the next vote.
Oh, yes, yes. The next one, we've got a little bit of them trying to finally be like, the grannies need to go. But the thing is there's a tight three, and we've got Dongush, Scott, and Chase. They're the tight three. But they also can work with Max and Trav for a 5. They can also work with Tony and Brandon as a 5, or all 7 of them can work together. So I'm wondering if they're gonna keep the 7, or maybe Brandon, because Tony has already been talking about maybe flipping because he knows he's on the bottom.
So
Brandon,
to
I'm not really sure what Brandon's doing. I mean, he's playing, but he's not. He's just kind of there. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
Right?
I think basically, so Scott has the only idol left in the game, right? The fire making idol, or do I have that wrong?
Mm-mm. Scott has
I,
no. Scott doesn't have the idol. He gave it to Chase. So Chase
I'm
has
gonna.
the idol, and Nathan has the fire making idol.
Okay, so Nathan might be humanity's last hope from the world being ruled by the elderly.
Yes. So we'll have to see how that plays out. So, I feel like if we're gonna give this crowns, I would say that I feel like Trav would be a good person to give a crown to, because he pretty much went from being in trouble with his tribe to like worming his way into the grannies. I feel like maybe, well, no, I don't know. He wasted his idol, so maybe I'm going to take back everything I said. But he did worm his way into the grannies. He did, like, even though Max told everybody about his idol, he didn't, um he kept that connection with Max instead of just getting mad and severing that connection. So that was good play, but yeah, I don't think I can give him the crown after he wasted his idol.
Yeah. You don't waste your idols.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't know who to give it to because all I know about this round is what you told me.
All right. Well, how about we say goodbye and then we'll do the next episode another day?
Sounds good.
Okay. Who's gonna play the
Alrighty.
song?
Yeah, let me go get it.
Strawberry shortcake.
Who's gonna play the song? No one's gonna play the song?
True friends last forever. Forever
Friends stay strong. True friends grow together like melody and song. When I'm feeling blue, you'll be smiled by the wind.
Near or far, wherever. True friends, me
And you, special girl, the very best of friends. Side by side together, very end. That's what friends do. I know I can count on you.
True friends last forever.
Forever friends stay strong. True friends go together like melody and song. When I'm feeling blue, you help me smile my way through. Here or far, whenever I'll be here for